What is up, everybody? Welcome back to racingnews.com. Welcome back to another one of our Kentucky Derby updates. Well, not a lot to recap from last week. There were no Kentucky Derby prep races. There's 3 coming up this week. We'll talk about those in a minute. Lead off the show with kind of it's not breaking news anymore. It's old news, but it was, I read about it like 1 hour after I posted last week's Kentucky Derby update. It's Mr. AP, who will be off the Kentucky Derby trail with an injury. We will not see him back in training until the spring, which obviously will be a little bit too late for the Kentucky Derby. So Mr. AP off my top 5. He was not on John's, but he was on mine. He's now off. So with that saying, let's get to the top 5s. Well, I'll do mine. I'll do John's. I'll read John's commentary for this week. And then we'll just kind of look ahead at the 3 Kentucky Derby prep races. So like I said, not a lot to recap this week. All right, number 5 for me this week is Napoleon Solo, a horse that had been ranked for me, pretty much the whole time until the last couple of weeks. I kind of took him off, but he's back on for me here. Napoleon Solo, of course, the winner of the Champagne last year at Belmont at the Big A Aqueduct there. We haven't seen him since, but that's kind of by design. They're kind of, freshening him up for the 3-year-old campaign. I'm sure we'll see him soon. So Napoleon Solo, number 5 for me. Number 4, Litmus Test. Obviously a horse that had been beaten by Ted Noffey a couple times, but other than that, he's, been pretty good when he's not had to face him, including last time out Los Alamitos for Charity. Thought he ran very well, kind of backed up that buyer speed figure that he got in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Very good sign, not only for Ted Noffey and the runners in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but for Litmus Test as well, as I should say. Renegade, number 3 for me. Oddly enough, this horse could still run in a maiden special weight. He has crossed the wire first once in a maiden special weight, but got disqualified. He was second last time out in the Remsen Stakes. Oddly enough, he defeated Paladine in the maiden special weight before getting disqualified, and then he was second to Paladin in the Remsen, and Paladin number 2 for me here again this week. Paladin, obviously a very nice horse, couple of victories. Chad Brown thinks he's a serious horse just in his second start to be able to go win the Remsen Stakes. Very, very impressive, and did it impressively as well. I think he's a horse that's going to get stronger as they go longer as well. He's bred to go long, and I think he'll just get better as we go along as a 3-year-old. And then finally, number 1, Ted Noffey. Once again, 4 for 4, a maiden special weight win, and then 3 grade 1s, the hopeful, the Breeders' for Charity, and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile should be the unanimous 2-year-old male of the year. And look, so far so good. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile, only one horse has come back to run. It was a win. So, as of now, it still looks like that could be an okay race. So that's the top 5 for me. I'll go through John's. It's the exact same. I went the exact same as John this week. Number 5, Napoleon Solo. Number 4, Litmus Test. Number 3, Renegade. Number 2, Paladin. And number 1, Ted Noffey. So those are the top 5 for both of us. John didn't have a whole lot to say because there isn't a whole lot to say this weekend, but it'll lead us in to kind of the next segment. John says, while there are no changes to my final Kentucky Derby top 5 of 2025, I am looking forward to the upcoming Smarty Jones at Oaklawn and the Jerome at Aqueduct. I'm especially interested to see what Universe does in the Smarty Jones. Earlier this year, I had ranked Universe number 5, but then he dropped off my top 5 list last week to make room for Litmus Test after his Los Alamitos for Charity victory. If Universe wins the Smarty Jones, he might just make his way back onto my top 5. All right. That'll lead us in to the race he's talking about. I'll put it up on the screen now. Let's talk Smarty Jones. So yes, Universe has drawn the rail for the Smarty Jones Stakes. Going to be run on January 3rd, this coming Saturday. By the way, I do have full previews of all these prep races we're going to talk about here in a minute up on the website right now, on the YouTube page right now. So these will not be like full in-depth previews I'm getting ready to talk about. We have separate videos for those. But Universe, let's talk about him. He's kind of been the measuring stick in a way, right? He's ran behind some horses that we think might be okay, like Further Ado, like Incredible. A couple of horses he's ran behind in his last couple of races. You say, yeah, that might be okay. We'll kind of see what he does here. If he wins, it kind of helps those horses that he's been behind in the last 3 starts. If he loses, well, then you kind of compare, okay, who won? How far was Universe behind? And how does that compare to the other horses that he's been facing? So it's interesting, right? We aren't sure how good like a horse like Further Ado is, which means we still aren't really sure if Universe is good or just okay or what. So he's very interesting in this race. You also have Boca Beach Club, who looked pretty good in his 2 starts so far. Rancho Santa Fe, an undefeated horse by Tappet for Brad Cox that I think is very interesting. The Florida bred Strategic Risk is here instead of the Mucho Macho Man. That's kind of baffling to me. He won over that track there at Gulfstream Park in a state bred stakes last time out by 9. Maybe they wanted the mile and 16th versus the flat mile there at Gulfstream. That could be what it was. I don't know. That was interesting to me, though, to see Strategic Risk here. A horse that he beat is running in the Mucho Macho Man, so that's kind of interesting. But I think the theme of this weekend, more than anything, is, okay, here are some horses that are we think might be okay. That's kind of the best way I could put it. Will any of them step up? It's step up weekend. Who's going to step up? Will we get multiple horses? Will any of them? That's kind of the thing. I think we've got some horses on the fringe here, like Rancho Santa Fe. Say he wins this race, all of a sudden he's 3 for 3 trained by Brad Cox, the son of Tappet. Well, he's probably going to get some hype, right? Universe, if he wins, I think that's good for not only him, but the horses he's been facing. So Smarty Jones is very interesting. John mentioned the Jerome. It's disappointing. A field of 5 here. A couple horses coming in from Parks, the number 2 Freedom's Echo and the number 5 Melata. I don't know. I was a little bit skeptical of them. I kind of left the number 1 Enforced Agenda, the number 3 My World, and the number 4 Balboa. The 3 My World won the Nashua last time out. Enforced Agenda, just one race. It was a maiden special weight right here at Aqueduct, a win going 1 mile. Gets Flavian Pratt aboard. I thought that was a good sign. And then Balboa, the well-traveled Balboa, who was in the Bob Baffert barn for a while, for a few races and looked good early and kind of fell apart, moved to Brittany Russell, dominated at Laurel, ran pretty good, a good 3rd in the Remsen Stakes behind horses that John and I have ranked in the top 5. This seems like a pretty good spot for this horse going 1 mile. So yeah, this is not a great race. But here we are, right? I mean, I don't know what else to say, really. A field of 5 going 1 mile at Aqueduct on January 3rd towards the Kentucky Derby is kind of awkward when just saying it out loud. You never get that great of a field here. Usually it's a little bit better than this. We'll see what happens. I don't know if we're going to get anything out of this or not. And then finally, we'll go to Gulfstream Park here. I'll put the Mucho Macho Man up on the screen. And field of 9 for this one, a flat mile at Gulfstream Park, meaning a 1-turn mile. Again, it's sketchy. Commandment has looked pretty good for Brad Cox. Epic Summer, 1 race, 1 win. I thought he was pretty good on debut for George Weaver. After that, there's just not a ton in here. Roger, that Dana, that's a horse that was finished behind Strategic Risk, who I talked about at Oaklawn. Blame Yourself, great name, especially for a New York bred, but yeah, I don't know. Debut race was pretty good. I don't really know how that projects into this race. This is a sketch field. I think all of them are a little bit sketchy. I will say, like Commandment, Epic Summer, they show a little bit of promise. So that, if they win, it's not the worst race. You kind of go, okay, that's not so bad, but it's a little bit, it's just a little bit up in the air. What's going to happen in these races? I think they're pretty good betting races. I think you can make a case we don't know what the odds are yet, but I think the prices are going to be there. There's going to be a price or two you can make a case for, so the betting I think will be pretty good. But at the end of the day, what are these horses? Who are they going forward? Will any of them compete in the next round of preps that I think will get a little bit stronger, or is this kind of where we're at? I think, if you're looking for the Derby winner on January 3rd, I really don't think we're going to see it in any of these 3 races. We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see if any of these horses can make a dent into the top 5 for next week. All right. Quick show because not a lot going on. Hopefully everybody had a good holiday season. Everybody have a good new year coming up. Happy New Year to everybody. It's as I sit here, 2-3 days away. So everybody enjoy that. We'll be back here next week. We'll recap all 3 of these races. We'll have new top 5s, assuming something happens. If not, we'll just go over what we've had. And we'll kind of look ahead to, I believe, the San Vicente and the Pascal is coming up next weekend. So we'll kind of look ahead to that a little bit as well. One last note that I do want to mention, the Racing Dudes Triple Crown Fantasy Horse Racing Draft will be on December 29th at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And what that is we'll draft, right now there's 12 teams, so we'll draft 63-year-olds. Well, they're 2-year-olds turning 3 January 1st, and they will, we will compete with our teams. Each team gets 5 horses, and we'll compete to see who has the best team, and they all get points throughout the Kentucky Derby prep season. Certain races are worth certain points in the league. So make sure to tune into that. It's kind of a, don't worry about who's winning the fantasy league type of thing, but it's coverage of 63-year-olds as they move towards the Triple Crown and the Kentucky Derby. So as we go through all this the next 3 or 4 months, it's a good way to look and go, okay, here's a list of 60 horses, and these are horses that I need to kind of keep an eye on, because every week, you can claim other horses and bring other horses into the fold. So it's just kind of a fun way to cover, all these prospects as they make their way towards the Kentucky Derby. If they're a serious prospect, they will be on a team this year in the Kentucky Derby or in the Triple Crown Fantasy League. So make sure to check that out on December 29th. That should be a lot of fun. Always one of our best shows of the year. All right, guys, that'll do it for this for this video this week. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back next week, obviously with a little bit better of an update, a longer update at least. So we'll have some more horses to talk about. All right, guys, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week.